Hi, everyone, and welcome to another interview in the Future Proof Your Law Firm group. Today, I am very, very happy to have Nancy Delain with us today. She's actually gracing our presence while she's on a little bit of a staycation. So thank you so much for being here, Nancy. I really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to it. Luke, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we start by you just giving a little bit of background on who you are and why your firm is the best at what you guys do.
Okay, who I am. Well, I am an intellectual property and business attorney. And I have that needs to go away. There we go. Sorry about that. One of the joys of doing Zoom is that your cell phone rings in the middle of things. Okay, I'm an intellectual property attorney and general business law. I'm admitted in New York. And before the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and in front of a lot of courts. You know, those can go by the wayside because, hey, guess what? I don't litigate. So it makes very little sense for me to be admitted in front of all these courts. But you know, I did it when I didn't know I wasn't going to litigate. So here we are. And I am a transactionalist. I am a straight transactionalist. I come to being a transactional patent attorney from an odd background. Most patent attorneys have a background in engineering or physics or chemistry or biology or something like that. My undergraduate background is biology, but I spent 20 years documenting invention as a technical writer. If anybody ever put a bicycle together on Christmas Eve for your kid, I'm the person who did that to you. Okay, I come to develop patent documentation the same way I develop any other sort of documentation, because hey, guess what? A patent is nothing but a subset of technical documentation. So I work very iteratively, very collaboratively with clients, and my attitude is fix it now. Don't pay any attention to the writer's ego, because the writer has no ego. This is not my document. This document belongs to the client, and the client's the one who's going to have to live with it. That's how I approach just about all writing, whether it be patent or contract or whatever. So that is probably one of the things that makes me stand out, because I speak English to my clients. Yes, I can talk legalese with the best of the lawyers, but clients don't understand that. Yeah. So I like to talk directly. I like to speak in the language that the person I'm talking to understands. Oh, so sure. What else can I tell you?
No, definitely. No, that's great. And I'd love to know, because I know kind of the virtual law firm that kind of is something that a lot of people have been talking about recently. So I would really love if you could talk a little bit, maybe kind of what your firm was like before COVID, any changes that COVID have had on your firm, and maybe any tips that you would, offer somebody who's maybe, struggling to kind of get into that, new technological focused kind of virtual law firm space.
Okay. My firm it was probably 50-50 brick and mortar and virtual before COVID. So in terms of what COVID did for me, it sent me to probably 95% virtual and 5% brick and mortar. I work out of my house, which is why I have a background here, so that nobody can see the mess that I work with. I work with my cats. They are my supervisors, and nice. Yeah, you try and get unsupervised by when you have cats, and the nature of my practice is a technological one. Okay, because patent by its definition is a technological thing. But in terms of getting started with it, really just dive in, jump in with your jump in with both feet. That's the only way to do it. Don't be scared of the technology. You cannot break the internet. I'm sorry, you just can't do that. Okay. Not even I can break the internet, and I'm good at breaking things. It's something I learned how to do really well as a tech writer. So don't worry about breaking the internet. Don't worry about techie glitches that happen, because they happen to everybody. Okay, it doesn't reflect badly on you when Zoom decides to fritz out on you, for example.
Mhm.
It happens. Deal with it. For me, COVID has been a blessing. Okay. I've never enjoyed going into an office. It's just I'm just not comfortable in that environment. I like sitting here working in a t-shirt and with the cats wandering around and working in my own space, as opposed to going into somebody else's space. And an office, even when it's my office, is somebody else's space. And can it be challenging? Sure, of course it can. It can get lonely sitting here in my little ivory tower. But that's what chamber mixers are for. That's what Zoom meetings like this one are for. That's what being in good touch with your clients is. That's one of the things that being in good touch with your clients and your friends is for. So you don't have to sit. You're not isolated, even though you're sitting here in your own space.
Definitely.
I love my commute. My commute is 10 feet from bedside to desk side.
Yeah.
And
Can't beat that.
and yeah, you can't beat that. That's true. My gas mileage, my gasoline bill during COVID was $25 a quarter, which was great. I have a car that at this point should probably have about 35,000 miles on it. It has 17. So COVID has been very good to me in that way as well. So it's been an interesting ride,
Oh,
but
sure. Yeah.
it's been a ride that I was probably better prepared for than a lot of people, because of the nature of my practice.
Sure. Yeah. No, and that's definitely I know a big thing that we kind of have come to talk about, as I've spoken to attorneys from all different practice areas. Some, like you said, just the nature of the practice is it's easier to shift to a more online format, where others it's a little bit more difficult.
Right.
I know one, as somebody whose practice is kind of tailored a little bit more towards that, I would be curious as to how you are going about and acquiring clients, because that's one big thing that I know newer attorneys are always coming to talk about, and that's one of the things we want to talk about in this show is some strategies for newer attorneys, especially with things being more online. And I guess the nature of your practice itself, how do people find you? Do they find you online? How do clients come to you? Is it all referrals? How does that work for you?
People find me online. People find me through Google. Um, the way I have managed to forever, the way I have managed to get clients is by niching away from other people. Okay, I do things that other lawyers do not do. Okay, in order to write a patent and have it processed by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, you have to be admitted to practice before the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Not all lawyers are there. Okay, in order to get admitted before the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, you have to have an undergraduate degree or the equivalent in a hard science. Not all lawyers are there. So by doing something that not everybody else does, it's probably easier for me to niche away. Okay. Also, when I first started out, the New York State Bar Association ran a listserv. They don't do this anymore, and I could kill them for this because it was so helpful. They ran a listserv. It was just an email listserv, okay? You signed up for emails and you heard from every lawyer in the state pretty much. And it was with the general practice section of the Bar Association. And people would come on and they would ask questions and, bat things back and forth. And it was a bunch of solo practitioners coming on and just, using the hive mind. And I got more referrals from that because here I was a patent lawyer in the general practice section, doing things people don't do. I let the world know I'm a patent lawyer. I do intellectual property. Yeah, I know it's voodoo law. You know, if you think it's voodoo law, then come talk to me. I'll be more than happy to you know, either walk you through it or walk your clients through it. And oh, by the way, if your client does come to me, then I'm going to send them right back to you for what you do for them. You know, if even if the practice area overlaps, you know, say it's somebody who does trademarks and their client needs a patent, but they don't do the patents because they're not admitted to do the patents. They send that client to me for the patent work. Well, I do trademark work too, but I'm not going to, you know, go back to your own lawyer for the trademark work, because the last thing I ever want to do is steal somebody else's client. Okay, that's bad form. It's unethical. The only way I don't think I would even consent to it if the client said, I want you to do this for me. I think I would say, you know, that's really ethically touchy for me. And I think you need to part, you know, if you want to part ways with your current attorney, you need to do that. You need to have a project in between there so that there's a little gap. And then if you want me to do this, I'll be more than happy to. But you know, in terms of stealing, you know, in terms of, you know, and lawyers worry sometimes about referring clients to other lawyers because, you know, ooh, what happens if that lawyer steals my client? And it's not going to happen. Okay, that's not the way I work.
Yeah. No, that's good, and I'm glad that's the way that you work. But I think that's something that you know, one interesting. I know I had a previous guest on, and we were talking about networking with other attorneys. And one big thing I know that he mentioned, he was like, yes, it's very important to maybe network with, you know, lawyers in your specific field, you know, whether it's other patent attorneys or if you're, you know, divorce attorney, other divorce attorneys. But what even might be even more crucial is networking, kind of like how you were in the general side, networking with individuals who are in completely different areas, because then, you know, if they need somebody that's completely different, you know, they wouldn't even think, oh, I can take care of this for my client. You know, I definitely need to, you know, have somebody help with that. So that's very impactful for sure. You know, I'd be curious, you know, again, one thing I like to talk about, one question I like to ask here is, you know, it seems like everything is going good for you guys, which is fantastic. But are there any challenges you've had to face, or any challenges you're currently going through that, you know, you are, you know, working through right now, I guess?
Well, I'm always looking for more clients. Always looking for different clients. I'm always looking for other attorneys to network with, people who do not do what I do. Okay, because while yes, it's important to know the people in my field, I think it's far more important for me to know the people who are not in my field, because that's where the referrals are going to come from. And those are the people to whom I can give referrals. Okay, I'm not going to do your will. You know, I never even took wills and estates in law school. Okay, I took patent law instead. And so, you know, you know, yeah, I suppose I could do a CLE and learn how to do a will, but why? There are lots of other very good lawyers out there who do wills and do trusts and do real estate closings and do divorces. God knows I'm not going to do a divorce. I did one time and never again. No, wrong, bad. Ugh, no. But you know, so I'm really, as much as I enjoy, you know, shooting the breeze with other patent attorneys, I really enjoy getting to know people who do things that don't impact that have nothing to do with what I do. Because, you know, sometimes clients do come to me and say, you know, my spouse is just driving me crazy. I can't deal with this anymore. I need a divorce. And saying, I don't do this, but that person over there does.
Yeah.
And so, you know, or you know, you know, my mother is getting old, and what do I do about you know, long-term care, or, you know, something like that. You know, that's the trust and estates guy. So, you know, it's one of these things where the more people I know who don't do what I do, the happier I am.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know. A saying that seems to be pretty uh, impactful and very truthful is that your network is your net worth. Having
Mhm.
people in your network is very very valuable for sure. So thank you so much today. I really appreciate it, Nancy. I got one final question for you.
Sure.
Um, if there is one last little nugget you would share to somebody, whether it's some, online software that you're using or just, some practice, don't give up. What's one little nugget you would give to somebody who is struggling right now when it comes to future proofing their law firm?
Don't try and look in the crystal ball, because the crystal ball is very, very inaccurate. I mean, face it, in 2019, nobody could have predicted 2020. Okay, it just was outside of our experience. We had no clue that this was coming at us. At the same time, don't be afraid to move and swing to sway and bend with the times, because the times are what they are. You know, you know, people have to adjust to whatever's going on in the world around us, and probably the thing that holds most people, and not even just most lawyers, but most people back, is fear of change. Change is good. Change is really good. Okay. Change, yeah, the only time change hurts is when you let it hurt, or when you're not, when you're so entrenched in the way, in grandfathering things in, that you really can't switch your method of doing things. So yeah, learn the new technology, go out and have fun with the law practice, because so many people I hear of, oh God, I hate the practice of law. um I don't. I love the practice of law. Okay, and I love
Yeah.
it because I have fun with it. And I have fun with it because I get to pick and choose my clients. Um, so I work with people I enjoy working with, and that is probably the biggest thing right there, is work with people you enjoy working with.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That is very valuable for sure. Thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate your time here today. All of the value that you shared. If people, want to learn more about you, what you do, where would be the best place for them to go about and find that out?
If you look at my name tag there, it
Yeah.
has the website on it, ipattorneyfirm.com. Feel
Gotcha.
free to visit.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. And I'll make sure to link that. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you again for being here, Nancy. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.